Hello, please introduce yourself and tell us about what you do.
My name is Kaspars Abersons. I work as a researcher in Institute of Food Safety, Animal Health and Environment, BIOR, in a fisheries research department. My scientific job is to do research on river lamprey, which is a very important species for Latvia, also for consumption and commercial fisheries. But in addition to that, I've been involved in pretty many already river restoration projects, and in that one particular project, which is Life is Cell, it's a project I'm a fish expert.
What was the problem you wanted to solve in your hydrological and water management practices?
In this particular project, the problem is, I think, in Latvia and in our neighboring countries as well, due to climate change and due to eutrophication, very heavy overgrowing is happening in the rapids, and then the rapids of the rivers are becoming less and less suitable for spawning of salmonid species, of lampreys and other species which spawns in running water. Because if you look in the Czech Republic, you have mountains, and then all the grayling zone and drought zone is somewhere more or less up in the mountains. We don't have such. Our higher point is 312 meters above sea level. And actually, all our rivers is lowland rivers with some fast flowing sections. And if those fast flowing sections overgrow, then we can lose most of our potential for spawning for salmonid and other similar species who spawns in running water.
What were the drivers for the project? Water Framework Directive? Another legal requirement?
Regarding this question, we have to remember that actually it's pretty wide project. In addition to the works in the river, I'm not involved into it too much, but it also works with harmonization of rules from Water Framework Directive and Habitats Directive, to put them together to evaluation of the water. But if it comes to rapids and rivers, which I'm working to, is in general, yes, the loss of salmon habitat, and Salac River is most important salmon spawning river, not only in Latvia itself, but also in the region. And since we're losing it, we have to do something. And I'm completely aware that the best way of how to reduce overgrowing is to reduce the eutrophication, but it's first of all, it's heavy process. It's political process and involves changes of thinking, but it also takes a pretty long time to results to be seen. So we are doing weeding, and the weeding is needed to restore the habitats for spawning for salmon.
What is important about this project, its goals? What is special or unique about it?
I think it's pretty unique. If you look wider, I think the weeding projects in Europe it's not too popular because it's been seen as not the best option to how to face the eutrophication. But if you look here in Latvia, so regionally it's very important project because it has completely different look on works which should be done. Then it's not just a river and just spawning places for salmon, but also a Natura 2000 site with a lot of value for species and habitats, not only fish. And we were doing pretty big feasibility study to take the account all the nature values, not only the fishes.
What measures did you take to achieve the goals of the project?
First of all, it's weeding or cleaning of the habitats with a special buckets with a special bucket who allows to leave all the gravel and most of the cobbles in a river. But what also did we do was as I mentioned, pretty heavy feasibility study. We spent 1 year mapping potential habitats and then their current status, and other natural values of the river. So it's the feasibility study, first of all, to understand what to do and where, and then the weeding.
Was the project focus the biodiversity as well?
It wasn't the main focus because we focus on the salmon, but as I mentioned, we take account the biodiversity, we take account all the other nature values, the species and habitats, which is both in the river and the shore on the coast.
Where did the funding come from, and did the funders impose any specific constraints?
It's EU-funded project, it's live project. I'm not too aware about all the peculiarities of funding, but I think it's EU-funded project with co-funding from Latvia, from Ministry of Environment, and as far as I know, there wasn't any specific constraints which came from funders.
What were the main challenges in implementing this project?
The main challenge was okay. There was two challenges. One we are still facing, and one we solved. We had a different traditions and different point of view how the works in river should be done. Because of course, we are not the first project who are trying to reduce the heavy overgrowing of the river, but they always were separated. They were most like nature focused or most like fish focused, and then some just activists doing something. And our first problem was to put it all together, to work together to achieve the same goals and then act in the same way, because anyone had a different background, a different experience behind it, and wanted to do things differently. But that we have overcome. We have now focusing on one goal. Another problem is that we also hope to remove some fish migration barriers, and we are a bit stuck because of lack of specific regulations, lack of need for water permits for barrier owners, and lack of will to contribute from landowners. So we're still working on.
What would you do differently next time, and why?
So far, I cannot identify. I think we have done pretty well so far. Yeah.
Were there things that you wanted to do but could not?
Yes, as I mentioned, we initially were planning the barrier removal. We are still planning to do it, but so far we have stuck a bit on a lack of legislation and lack of need of lack of wanting to cooperate from landowners.
Are there aspects of this project that are specific to the location, region, or country? What would be transferable?
First of all, I assume that the first thing which could be completely transferable is the approach of doing feasibility study, of understanding what is happening on the river and what should be done to achieve something, and what do you want to achieve. It's like a global way of approaching the projects, but if we look a bit more local scale, it's Latvia, and I think neighboring countries. It's also some methods and approaches with the works in the river, how to reduce the heavy overgrowing and still leaving some natural and habitat values in the river, and which kind of habitats is the best which you should create doing the work in the river.
At what stage of implementation is this project today? How has it changed with climate change and over time?
We are in the pretty beginning. We have now started year 2 of the project, and we have ended feasibility study. We have ended how to call it, some sort of implementing plans. It's one of our deliverables, the plan for what we will be doing, and we did some actual work in a river also. We started last year, but it's just 1.5 years, so no changes regarding of anything.
What do you see as the main challenges for freshwater restoration projects now?
the main challenge is that we are living in a fast changing environment and with a heavy momentum of how the things were done or should be done, and we have to adapt fast to the changes which is happening, but we cannot because we have a traditions and a long momentum of how we are running things and the industry as well.
In your experience, what would you recommend to someone wanting to implement restoration projects to do as a priority?
Feasibility study. It's always the best way to understand what is happening in the river, what drivers are pushing it to what is happening, and understand which would be the best ways of how to solve it. Because very many projects, I assume not only here in Latvia and in the region, but it's worldwide. People are doing something because they have read or they think that it should be done, and then expecting to achieve something, but have not defined what exactly they want to achieve. So the chances of achieving something is pretty low.
What would you recommend that they try to avoid?
Well, it's basically the same, to come with ready solutions which work somewhere else, but without having a deeper look on a specific river and then trying to implement things which might be working somewhere else. And then you never know, will they work in the same river and what will be the result, in a different river, what will be the result.
Do you have any suggestion for your government or the European Commission as to measures that might help enable more and more successful restoration projects?
I'm not sure about the Commission. Maybe it's also the Commission level, but in local level, it's need for water permits for all migration barriers. Because we are in very, very weird situation now that you have to have load of paperwork to do something to remove barriers. But if you have a barrier, you just have it. And then you do not have any paperwork at all. And then until you do not have to register, someone do not have to register his migration barrier, we are not, I think, going to expect some big achievements or big changes in river restoration.
In summary, what are your key messages for those facing the restoration challenge?
First of all, understand where are you going to, what do you want to achieve, then be open, speak with anyone, be patient, just understand that changes won't come next year or tomorrow at noon, and explain your goals, and then sooner or later, hopefully you will be here. But expect that it will take time.
Thank you very much for your answers. Have a nice day.
You're totally welcome.